We still do 7 NUFC Matters show a week for free. But if you want to help support NUFC Matters, then there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast and video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications bell so you don't miss a single show. If you want to help us financially, then you can join the channel using this button with the membership starting at $1.99 a month. Or you can drop us a donation in the chat using a super sticker. We're also looking for sponsors. If you'd like your brand advertised on the flyers for the show and featured during the ad break, then email John at nufcmatters.com to arrange today.
Attack. It feels like I've been talking to myself again, but it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the past. I'm dwelling on the thoughts I cannot say to you. If I don't say the words, then maybe it's not true. And it feels alright when they come and say to you,
good evening, welcome to nufc Matters, the three amigos, the perfect way to kickstart your Newcastle United weekend and your shirt launch weekend as well. Adidas now the official kit sponsor and all the other stuff that goes with it. And I am proudly wearing me Adidas tonight. Yes, I did go up to the ground at stupid o'clock this morning, like a lot of other people, to get my gear, and I did a little video. I shared it on the shorts. Here you go. Well, 6:30 on my way from my new strip. The streets of Newcastle are quiet. There's the It's In black and white shop. Don't forget that. It's opposite the Labour Club. Coming past the Strawberry. Not many here. Early doors. Early bird catches the worm.
He's got the coach's ship.
So that's it. Job done. The whole process from getting here at 7:20, finished at 9:47. NUFC Matters at the strip launch. Yep, so there we go. A roving
nice
reporter.
One, Steve. Nice one.
Yeah, well, it just kept it short but sweet. We've got Steve Hasty trying to get his way in. I'll take him back out until I see him in the green room again. But look, it was great. It was well organised. That's the first thing to say. Well done to them for getting things well organised. And as I say, I got there about 7:20. I was probably in the shop by 9:20. It was my choice to go up there at that time. I saw a lot of people saying, well, you could have just gone to JD Sports, but it was nice to be up there to see it. Fair play to Peter Silverstone and Darren Eales. They come out. Darren Eales worked his way all the way down from the front of the queue to the back of the queue, shaking everyone's hand, asked people what he thought of the the strip and the advert, etc. He was having the same conversation more or less with everybody, but it was well organised. It's the best thing I can say. What about the stuff that they've got on sale? It's really good. And me and Mitch were talking about this by message earlier on. So it should be. It's Adidas. I don't think the pricing of it is that bad either. If you can afford it, of course it's not bad. If you can't afford it, then it's going to be expensive to you. But I bought it from the club shop because I'd like to support the club. JD, great to have them on board as a partner. But I'd rather go direct to the club and put it straight into the club shop. Now knowing that the money is invested in the right places, and lots of rumours flying around with some people saying that it sold out online, and if it did, and if the website crashed, and this, that, and the other, then that's purely down to demand. People want it. People are seeing people with the tops seen lots of people saying that, you know, they like the design. I've seen equal amount of people saying that they're not fans of V-necks, and you're never going to please everybody with a strip, and there'll be a strip that pleases somebody in due course. I do know that Pavel Srnicek would have loved the goalkeeping top if he'd been around to this day.
Yeah.
He would have loved that design and that colour, and that's it. I was hoping to have Kenny Trainer on tonight. He was the first man in the queue. He's struggling. He's having problems with his device, unfortunately. But if he does manage to come on, I will get him on. He was there at midnight and queuing from midnight to get the top. And he was first in the queue, first through the door. And fair play to him. A couple of the other mates went up there at about 3:30, 4 o'clock. And yeah, I mean, you know, just meant they didn't have to queue as long. In you know, once the doors had opened, but you know, it's all academic. People were happy they got there and got their tops and wanted to be one of the first to wear it. So good stuff. A good day. Positive launch. Advert for me. Give the hairs on the back of your neck a good airing. You know, amazing advert. I knew that there was a few of the ex-players involved. I think there's more to come, by the way, as well. As a few of the other ex-players will be in future adverts, so watch this space. And I think there's something for everybody. You know, we're only at the tip of the iceberg at the minute. We haven't seen everything yet. We're getting drip fed various things, and it's going to be great. And I opted for the a lot of debate in the queue as stuff started to come online. I opted for the burgundy top. The Mackhams, of course, are having a field day, but the burgundy top there is a good fit. Nice hood on it, and yeah, it's sizes. A lot of people saying, what's the sizes like? Sizes are great. I found with Castoria that the Castoria tops were ultimately, if you take a medium, you had to get a large. The medium top fits me, so I've got a medium top. With the hoodie, I've got a medium hoodie, perfect fit. The pants tight on the legs, perfect on the waist, but they were tight on the legs. So I opted for the large, and I was thinking, I hope they're not going to be baggy or too perfect fit. So if you fit a medium top and you're like me, you're quite tall, but you're around about the 14 stone mark, then you know you're probably going to opt for a large pair of pants. But overall great. Obviously, the issue with the club shop at the moment is that it's getting a big refurb. They've had to launch the strip on this day. It's such a small, despite the fact it's a couple of porta cabins, it's very small. There's only one change of facility in there as well. I was lucky I managed to get into it to try the tracksuit bottoms on, otherwise I would have had to wait for them. But you know what, all in all, staff were great, stewards were great, the club were great, and you know, Red Bull were great. Red Bull were giving us a few drinks, and I have got a special guest tonight. Kenny, good evening.
Hello, Steve. You all right? I was having a problem with my headphones here.
Well, I've built you up, Kenny. I've built you up and give you a little bit of an intro there anyway, because I did read your message and I was going to get back to you. But thanks for coming on. I know you were having a few issues. So I've told our viewers you were there from 12, mate. What prompted you to get up there at 12 o'clock?
Sorry, mate, I didn't catch that. Stupid headphones.
Why did you go up at 12 o'clock, Kenny?
Well, do you know what it is? I went to bed about 10:30 and I just couldn't sleep. I was in one of them nights where you know yourself, Steve, being a doorman, your body clock's knackered. It's shot to bits. And I was just lying there for about an hour and 15 minutes. I'm thinking, I'm not getting any sleep here tonight. It is what it is. So I thought, I'd say that, get up, sit and watch telly all night. Or, I thought to myself, new shirt goes on sale, I'll dive in and get it. So I decided just to go in.
What did your lads say when you're departing the house at that time? I mean, I know doorman work 4 hours, but you're going out of the house at 11:30 and just going, where are you going? You're going, I'm going to get my new Newcastle top.
Well, she was like, where are you going? Oh, man.
Yeah, we can still hear you, mate. We can still hear
you.
Don't
Sorry. Little problem me. There. I think that's better.
Yeah. We can hear
She says, where are you going? I was like, well, I can't sleep. She says, what are you getting ready for? I'm like, I'm going to go and buy my shirt. She was like, what? I said, I'm going to go and buy my shirt. And she was like, really? I said, huh? And then she says, I'll see you in the morning. That was it.
So you get up to the ground, you're standing there, you were the first person there. You've had some great coverage in the media. That's why I asked you to come on tonight. The Chronicle loved the fact that there was somebody there at that time. Did the club look after you? Was anybody there? Anybody else there?
There was one security guard, and he was a bit startled when I turned up. He was like, all right. I was like, I says, which side am I queuing on? He's like, are you at a queue, like? I was like, all right. And he was like, well, you're the only one he has, so just jump on that side. So we stood and talked for a canny while. We're just talking about different things. He's a supporter like yourself. We talked about the club. We talked about, you know, possible players that we're going to sign. Things like that, you know, the general stuff when you know you're talking about football all the time. It was just that, and he give us cups of teas and things like that. You know, it was just general banter. He was a really nice lad. Really nice lad.
Great stuff, mate. And obviously the countdown to the store opening, we had Darren Eales coming out, Peter Silverstone was there. And I've just mentioned, I thought that was a great touch by the club to actually, you know, to have the guys, you know, outside. And Darren Eales did the full queue. I mean, I saw you when I got there, and I went right down to the I was where you were at the front. I was probably at the metro entrance and exit. So I was quite a way back in the queue, but he came all the way down to the back of the queue, spoke to everybody, shook everyone's hand, posed for selfies. I just thought that was a nice touch, Kenny.
Yeah, it was. And Peter Silverstone came out as well. He came out, had a word with a lot of the fans at the front of the queue. I don't know how far he went down the queue, but he did come out and have a big crack with it. I mean, I met Darren Eales last year at the Carabao Cup final. He was a little bit worse for wear when I seen him down the Green Man in Wembley. Like, he was tanked up. So I had a bit banter with him. Good, nice bloke, really nice bloke. And like I said, Peter Silverstone came out as well. It was really nice of them to come out. You wouldn't have got that in the last regime.
Yeah. Very true.
You know, which is a good thing. You know, because I think now we've been crying out for owners who actually get work and want to be here, who actually want to build the club and they want a future with the club. And I think that they get that, where we all know the last regime, you know, we knew what they wanted. But these are the polar opposite of them. So, and I think the fans know that because of where they're trying to take the club. So I think they all get it now.
Yeah, I would agree. So you've got your top on. What do you make of the top?
Really nice. Well, see, I worked on the videos when they were doing the promotional videos. I'd done, you know where Shearer was stood at the bottom, where the Bobby Robson statue is. Yeah, I just stood at the bottom of there watching that, and watching that actually did give us goosebumps. But seeing the video for it all being pulled together, it just gave us even more goosebumps. So as soon as the video came out, it was like, you know, it was a brilliant video. It was well put together. And then I thought, I wasn't even sure whether I was going to get the shirt or not. So I just thought, no, I'm going to get it because the video did show that it really did look nice. And I don't know if you did see the leak that came out a little while ago.
Yeah. And
I thought they were really smart anyway. So I was going to get it anyway, I think, almost certainly. But no, it's really nice. It's a nice bit. It's better than Castoria. 1,000,000% better than Castoria.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I like Castoria. I bought everything from them. I mean, I genuinely think, you know, because of the club and where we're at now, it's great to see so many people doing it, you know, and going out and purchasing stuff and doing it from the club shop. But it's great. So you got the home shirt. Did you get anything else?
No, I didn't.
Anything else?
I just wanted to get home and get some sleep. And it was like, I just wanted to go and get a shirt. That was it. And I thought, if anything else comes up, I'll see it and I'll just decide to get it there and then. But it was like, when everybody went in, it was just a free-for-all. So I was just like, nah, just get me shirts and get out.
Yeah. Well, listen, Kenny, I know you've got a busy night ahead. Go on, George, if you've got a question for Kenny.
Just to say to Kenny, to thank him for bringing lots of really good memories home for me. You standing there at midnight to get a shirt. If that had been for cup tickets or cup final tickets, that would have been my whole family.
Yeah.
The grandfathers, the uncles, then my father, they'd all been in the queue and waiting. And then halfway through the night, the wives would have went up. My mother and my granny and my uncle's family, to swap them to give them a break so they could go and get a cup of tea, then come back and join the queue again. I mean, all that come flooding back to me when I seen you in the queue at that time.
Well, my lass started work at 7 o'clock because she works round at the RVI, and she came round about 6:30 and brought us a bacon sandwich and let's say and all that.
You're spoiled. You've got to keep her there, mate. You've got to keep her there.
I didn't even ask her. I said, what do you think? Go on, get you some breakfast. I was like, lifesaver, honest.
Brilliant, mate. Brilliant. Well, Kenny, honestly, it was absolutely brilliant to see you, mate. Well done on being the first in the queue, and go and get a little bit more shut-eye before you do the doors tonight, mate. Yeah, Kenny, thanks for coming on, mate. Take care. Have a good weekend.
Nice to see you guys. Nice to see you, Steve. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yes. Take care.
Well done, Kenny. Thank you.
Great to have Kenny on. Glad he got his internet issues sorted. He's a top bloke, and that's great. I love stories like that. And I think it sums up the whole day. Everybody had a really good time, and fantastic. Emmett says, I was ahead of you in the queue, Steve. As I said earlier, you should have been nearer the front. No, I shouldn't have been near the front. I got there in good time, mate. And, great to see so many people there. I just wanted to sample the atmosphere. That's what I wanted. I wanted to go up there and just sample the atmosphere after having a 13 years where I didn't buy a top. Obviously, I bought the tops, I bought the last tops under the new ownership. But after having a sabbatical for 13 years under Ashley, not buying a top because I didn't want to put any money into his pockets, it's just, it's an event. Do you know what I mean? It's like the Cellar event tomorrow. I'm sure lots of people will go to the Quayside tomorrow night and watch that. Watch the wonderful drone display, and I think it's because there's just such a feeling about being part of Newcastle United again. And we can be upset and disappointed about certain things, and we've had our say about various things. But you know what? If they're changing things, they're changing the membership now. They're going to change. It looks like they're going to change Newcastle United TV. They're listening to what we say. And that's the main thing. And that's what makes it such an enjoyable process now. But Mitch, I've talked enough. Very, very rare do I come on and talk for such a great period of time on here. I usually leave it to you guys. But what's your take on the whole, thing, on the whole launch and the video and what you've seen today, and what's your whole thoughts?
Video first is phenomenal. I even had a lad out here, I know, a South African lad who's a Liverpool fan. Say I saw that video, Mitch, and it makes me want to go and buy one. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a big message. That somebody who has no affiliation to the club or the region, but knows a couple of Geordies, says, "Good God, I've seen that. It makes me want to buy one. I want to come and watch the match reviews." The people behind the media team who put that together have nailed it. Absolutely, totally nailed it to the mast like a flag for everybody to see. And they've got the mood right, even with the little touches like Shola on his bike, and his apple and all of those things. I think just absolutely spot on. The other excitement for me was seeing a launch on the regional Adidas website. Of course, however, that put me down a bizarre rabbit hole, because when they put the tops and everything on this morning, they had the prices all over the place. The prices were at so high that if I was to buy the jacket version of the top you bought, plus the pants that you bought, if I'd bought them off the Adidas website this morning, it would have been cheaper for me to buy a first-class ticket and come and buy them from the club shop. But that then sent us further into the Adidas website, because I thought, well, hang on, we're the same tier as Real Madrid. We've got the same stuff as them. And they'd got the prices wrong on the Real Madrid stuff as well. So it was looking like that was the prices. But by this evening, it all calmed down and they corrected a lot of the prices, thankfully. And actually, the prices aren't too bad. They're very close to what you're paying back home. The only difference is there's no tops available in this part of the world yet. We can get shorts and socks, but not tops. But we can get all the training gear. So that's a bit of an odd one. But they probably kept the tops for local launch because they knew the response in the UK was probably going to be so high. I'm happy to keep my powder dry because I've seen a hint of some of the original stuff that's coming out. and the stuff with the trefoil on, you know, which that's what makes my mouth water. The black and white striped shirt, long sleeve shirt with the trefoil and the badge on, that's seen in the video, is going to be an originals release. But what that also made us do was have a look at Real Madrid stuff for this season to see what other possibilities we've got going on. Real Madrid on the website here do a range called Real Madrid Essentials. And they're basically simple, single colour, Real Madrid badge, trefoil. So we're obviously going to have something similar to that. Bearing in mind, we're going to be treated the same way. We're tier 1. And also something different that you could see with the kit. Real Madrid's 4th kit is branded as Adidas Y3, their fashion brand. And so the possibilities, and this is what makes my mouth water. Having talked to Craig Bugler, so I'm trying to get onto the show tomorrow for the professionals with Word. Craig is a Dubai mag now. He's out here. He's a part owner of a company called Squat Wolf, which is a sportswear company. Craig's as Geordie as they come. He's Dubai mag. If you saw some of the stuff of me on the boat, if you heard somebody wailing as like an MC in the background, that would be Craig. Craig's a designer. He's done designs for Nike. He's done designs for Adidas. He designed, I think, the Brazil '98 kit for the World Cup. And Craig was advising Adidas on some bits and bobs. And it was him who was kind enough to share some of the proofs with me back in January when I first opened my mouth a little bit about it, just because he said I could, but I couldn't give much away. Things like the little touches, like the 70s badge on the neck. And you'll see more of that with the away kit and the 3rd kit. Little touches with some of the original stuff that's potentially coming out, and that's why I'm certainly going to be keeping my powder dry, probably till Christmas, because I think it's around about December when the original stuff's going to come out. But I'll try and get Craig on tomorrow to talk a bit more at length about it. And I think that's the whole aspect of what Adidas can do, that can bring the history and heritage of the stuff they've done with us in the past. Pick any of the badges that we have the intellectual property rights to and mix it with any of their lines and brands that they see fit to get all sorts of interesting combinations and reach out to different ages, different sectors of the population, people who are interested in different things, but all bring it back to Newcastle United and our badge and our history and everything that wearing the shirt stands for. I think it's a phenomenal start. And from, if I believe some of the other stuff that's waiting in the wings to be shown, some of the other stuff that's been filmed, and plenty of other stuff that's been designed, you know, it really is exciting. We've got to, we're going to be in on whatever the next set of trainers they are. This past season it was Sambas. I've heard it's possibly Gazelles, but it could be handball specials for next season. Either way, we will be one of those with the club crest on the tongue, and I'm guessing black and white, of course, and trefoiled, and hopefully not £1,200 when they come on the bloody website like it was this morning for that very jacket you had on, which made me absolutely wet my pants. I thought, God, that's one way to balance FFP, but bloody hell, Amanda, I'm not buying you a new winger. But I think it's really exciting. It's interesting the response to the Dubai mags and worldwide, because I'm obviously on a couple of Dubai mags groups, and I'm on a couple of the worldwide supporters club groups, and genuinely the response across the world is so universally positive. Mm-hmm. But the feedback we're getting, not just from Newcastle fans, but from fans of other clubs, is bloody hell, we never get a launch like that. And so I think it shows the impact of that. Do you know what? I would quite happily sit down with Newcastle United and find a good watch partner for them that isn't bloody Timex. I do that all day long. Hint. But I think the possibilities are legion, and that's what excites me. And I just hope beyond hope that I can scavenge some of them on the outlets here, because it's fascinating out here how some of the prime Adidas releases, how quickly they go from the main Adidas shops into the many outlet shops that are here in Dubai. So I might find a way to save me pennies yet.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, a lot of people as well might not have seen the top. We just had Kenny on, who was first in the queue. There it is. That's the top. Some people like the collar, some people don't. Move my microphone out of the way and headphones out of the way, but I like the collar. I think it's really nice. So yeah, yeah, go on, Mitch.
If you don't mind, I think one of the things I'd suggest to people when they've been looking at pictures and images of the shirt, particularly ones of the shirt laid flat, and they're worried about the curves at the side, and they're worried about the shape of the collar, you've got to remember what you've got there is a two-dimensional image of a three-dimensional object, and you've got to see the thing in real life to understand how all of these lines and things work when it's on a person.
Yeah.
And I think the confusing bit about the collar is in some pictures, it looks like almost like there's a big step from where that white band is to the rest of the V. And there isn't really. It's continuous. It flows. But you only see that when it's on someone. You don't see it on a picture of a shirt lying flat.
I've just had a message from Stu Penman for you, Mitch. He said, you can F off with that watch idea, Mitch. I've bought enough in the last couple of years because of you. Yeah, listen, great stuff. Lots of positive stuff, and I just want to answer a couple of questions before I come to Steve. I'm not getting anything on the back, Paul. No, gone are those days. I'm afraid of me getting a name, a player on the back. Lots of people did. Lots of people had Bruno on, Gordon, Shearer as well, and Blue Rhythm Boy. Yes, the polo tops were in stock as well. And I've got to be honest, I really did like the white. I do like the white one, and I'm still convinced I'll get it. The white training top, but I just know what I'm like with white, and I would have got it home and I would have had a mark on it or something today. So at least with the burgundy one, I can be trusted with that one. Put it that way. But Steve, great to see you, mate. You're in transit there over the next few weeks, so you've been very busy. But yeah, give us your take on what you've seen of the Adidas launch, mate.
Darren Eales, like I said last week, he'll turn up with the opening of a paper bag, won't he? And he was there again today.
Shook everyone's hand, mind. I stuck up for him before. He came down, mate. He walked the line. More than Silverstone did. Silverstone was at the front of the queue, spoke to a few people up there, and then off he went. But Darren Eales did walk the full queue right the way to the back. Thanked everybody. Said the same thing. We wouldn't have got that with Penfold, mate.
No, you wouldn't. But yeah, he put with Silverstone in his white trainers as well, looking very.
I didn't see that.
No, I mean, let's face it. I mean, everybody's been hyped up to this Adidas launch. It sounds like it went very well so far. I mean, I've seen a few comments on social media before I left the house, and I mean, it's Adidas, so you expect the quality to be good, you expect the stitching to be good, etc., etc. I think Mitch and I have had and yourself have had a few little sort of bit dialogue over WhatsApp over the last hour or so while I was driving. I noticed the messages there, and quite rightly, the quality looks good. I like, is it burgundy, Steve, or red? I'm not too sure.
It's burgundy, mate, and it's a very dark burgundy. You could spill Malverno. You could spill Malverno on it, mate.
As Bob Dylan said, we started out on burgundy and soon hit the hardest stuff. Is that right?
Yeah, Benny's just said the same there. You can drink and spill all the red wine you like with a burgundy top. That's
true. I think that white top, the white polo shirt, I think I might have to give that a miss because, like you, there'll be all sorts down the front of it. But no, I mean, it's great, isn't it? It's great for the city and for the club and for the fans that we've got Adidas back. It's been the conversation now for 6 months or less than that, just since it was announced. And it just makes for a very exciting time. I think we're all wondering what's going to go on at End Clothing, because they're going to have some exclusives coming out, some exclusive trainers, apparently some exclusive training tops. I think this will be the nature of Newcastle United going forward over the length of the contract and beyond, however long that lasts. And if it lasts as long as it did under Sir John Hall, then you know the grandkids and great grandkids will be still wearing Newcastle United Adidas. So it's all very, 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 very on a plus point, Steve.
Yeah, definitely is. George, what's your take on what you've seen over the course of the last 48 hours?
Brilliant. I mean, there was never any doubt once it became Adidas, was there? To me, there wasn't anyway. I mean, everything that they do is first class, top class. And for us to be associated with that is just putting us in the right direction, you know, in every sense of the word. I mean, I the other night when we were talking about the price, now I had a bit of a gripe about the price, but what comes back though is that we're in tier one with everything with this. So the exposure we get is absolutely incredible. And you know, I've spent a bit of time on the websites looking at different things, and they're all quality, everything. I mean, even the burgundy top, I thought that looked great on the video and on the still shots on the model on the mannequin, and it looks good on you too, Bonnie lad. So yeah, all top quality, all good stuff, and gets Newcastle to where we want to be. We're in the front row where we're with the leaders of in this thing, not catching up behind. Your comment about the neck, the interesting thing, I'll tell you what I thought about it when I seen the neck of your shirt. It reminded me of the last one I ever wore was the Charlie Mitten shirt in 1961. You get a look at a still of the 61 shirt. That's the strip that had the stripy socks and weird shorts, but the shirt itself was brilliant, and that's exactly the kind of neck it had. It fitted closely. I liked it. It was lovely, and I think that's good as well. And I prefer
that was quite a modern shirt, though, George, wasn't it? That was a really modern design for its time. A really modern design.
Oh, Charlie Mitten brought it all from South America. You see, and he wanted to shake Newcastle up, but he designed it himself. It wasn't anybody outside, and it was great. The socks were awful to wear because in those days they had stripy tops, right? So in those days they didn't have the machinery to do it all in one like they would now. So the stripy top was made separate and then joined to the white bottom. So you got a ridge. So when you turned it over and you put your tires on, by the time you finished the match, your leg was bloody sore with the ring around your leg. So no, but the shirt was brilliant, and that type of colour is exactly what it was like. And anybody has a look, they'll see it. The PR stuff, the fact that they went down the queue is good. That they got it all sorted, and as I just said to Kenny, brought for me happy memories of standing in queues for cup tickets all those years ago with the whole family at midnight and sometimes sooner. So yeah, but well organised. The fact that it was in two porter cabins doesn't seem to have affected it at all. Apart from what you say, Steve, about the changing rooms, but apart from that, it seems to have gone quite smoothly. You know, it couldn't be better. You know, so all positive as far as I'm concerned. Will I get one? Yes, I'll probably treat myself to something, but I'm going to be like my son. I'm going to play it cool. I like the polo shirts as well, and I might risk a white one, but we'll see. But I'll definitely have something. You see, I'm like you, Steve. For 14 years, I boycotted anything to do with Ashley. Although I did have 2 or 3 that the lads bought us when I took them on away trips. When it was sometimes the gift for driving the car was the bought us a shirt or something like that, and so I did get the odd ones, but I didn't buy any. And that's the one that's behind us now is the third strip, the green and white one that's behind us now. That's the first one I've bought for a long time. But just because I liked it, and just because I wanted to stick 2 fingers up to the people talking about human rights, really. But today's been a triumph. for the club and for Adidas. And you're right, it's a triumph for the city going forward to have that kind of input. Video stuff was great. I don't know who did it. If it was the people that did the video I was involved in, I'm not surprised it was good because it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So yeah, top notch, everything about it, and it's something that's put Newcastle where it should be, at the top of the tree, not trailing behind all the others, and sitting alongside the Real Madrids of the world. Isn't that what we wanted? It's certainly what I was being wanted, and others as well. So great.
Yeah,
I mean, I groused about the price the other night, but and you look at what we get out of it because we've got Adidas, but also people need to remember they're giving us, was it 30 million, something like? Is that the sponsorship deal, something like 30 million? Well, they're doing that to Madrid, they're doing it to somebody else. That's a lot of sponsorship, so they've got to get the money in from somewhere. So no, top notch, good start, and quality shows, quality will out always in anything, and Adidas is quality.
Can I just say, Steve? I think the pricing is out of our hands. There's nothing we can do about the pricing. Yeah. I think the only thing we can say is that everybody else seems to be selling at the same price, and that's the question that will probably suddenly start to get raised after the election, because when the regulator comes in, no doubt they'll do what they did back in 2003, and they'll start to look at it and whether or not there's a cartel operating or whether there's cartel type action being taken between all of these manufacturers to suddenly come out with exactly the same price. We talked about it on Wednesday. It's inevitably something that will be raised when the regulator comes in, if the regulator comes in. But that is going to be, I think, a little bit further down the line than people imagine, and certainly after the election and beyond. But at the moment, there's nothing we can do about that price. And we've gone up from £64.95 to £70 and then now to £80. And it's inevitable that probably with a standard shirt within the next 2 seasons, we're probably pushing on to £100 a shirt. But they're marketed as fashion items. They're not marketed as football or sporting items. They're not meant to be worn to play football in. They're meant to be seen in, and hence why they're on the fashion side rather than the $24.99 priced shirt that you would have if you were playing a game for a local team.
Yeah, interesting stuff. Been a big day. Well done, Newcastle United. We're crazy when you do well. Excellent stuff. Just to stick Steve on mute. I think I'm getting a little bit of feedback off Steve there with his internet connection, but we can hear him, we can see him. He's fitting well, which is the main thing. Okay, we are going to have a quick interlude now with a bit of this. As always, thanks to everybody who sent in tweets of the week. We've got some absolute belters this week. People do know that I like me Star Wars stuff. Jimmy Moore, thanks for this. He went, tweet of the week, look at Steve Wright's new grill. I love that, Jimmy. Is that a real thing? It's like an big barbecue in America. It's excellent, that. Really did like it. Did you fancy a bit of pizza, lads? Gary Scott's doing these. A pizza.
Oh, God.
Very clever. Very clever. And this one as well from Soda Pop Kid. It's do all fairy tales begin with once upon a time? No, many of them begin with if I am elected, I promise. Quite topical, that one. Excellent. And this one, Exeter mate. Hey, don't wait for me. I'm at the hospital. Is everything okay? I'm okay. It's just my cousin. He can't speak or walk. Oh my God, what's happened? Nothing serious. He was born 2 hours ago. These text ones. We're starting to get a lot more of these text ones. Enjoy your flight with BA today. And another one from Soda Pop Kid. He went, the Proclaimers' loan's getting out of control and they are blaming B&Q. They've been to Bathgate no more. Linwood no more. Methyl no more. Irvin no more. Very good. Give us an opportunity to sing as well. You see, he likes to do that, Soda Pop Kid. Thank you for that. A Star Trek one for this week. Do you know what propaganda is? Yes, it's when a British person takes a really close look at something. Propaganda.
Propaganda.
Yes.
Oh dear.
And when you have a good idea in Spanish, very good, very good.
Yes,
See what you did
yes.
there as well. And an interesting thing you see on your walk: Collins back passage, slippy when wet. And behind every hangover, there's a promise of never drinking again. That's one for Mitch and Stu, apparently, Mitch.
Apparently. Straightly.
It says if you opens a can. This is a good one as well from David. I treated my husband by taking him to a strip club for his birthday last Friday. At the club, the doorman said, "Hi, Ken. How are you?" "How does he know you?" Ken said. "Oh, dear. I play football with him." Inside, the bartender asked the usual Ken. Ken said to me, "Before you say anything, he's on the darts team." Next, the stripper said, "Hi, Ken. Do you crave the special again?" I stormed out, dragging Ken with me, and jumped into a taxi. The taxi driver said, "Hey, Kenny boy, you picked up an ugly one this time. Ken's funeral is on Sunday."
Oh,
Good
dear.
one from Dougie there. He says, "I just wanted to share a photo of my wife with her new sunglasses."
What glasses?
She was behind there, George. Coffee, crack, and cake.
Really?
Yeah, Wednesday at 10 a.m. Come on in. And this one as well was a good one. Stop killing fish for their fingers. It's a wonder we haven't seen somebody. It's a wonder we haven't seen somebody with a banner like that. This is how bricks are made, lads.
Oh, dear. Hey.
And can you fill in the missing gap? Pentagon, hexagon, octagon,
Pentagon.
Polygon.
polygon. Exactly.
Polygon.
And this guy's downloaded the wrong Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jimmy. And this wife isn't happy. "Hi, boss. I'm pregnant. So I would need a few days leave now to discuss this with my boyfriend. Please approve my leave." The reply from the boss was, "Please first discuss this with my wife. She read your first couple of messages. Why can't you type all this in one message?" And that's an interesting flavoured baby food, lads. Carolina Reaper.
Jesus.
Can't be real, that. And
Wow.
Betty, I've been offered the Man United job, says Frank Spencer.
Saying they would be interested in nappies to change. Jesus.
Oh, God, definitely. People wonder why she puts up with me. That's another one from Jimmy Wilson. And our house in the middle of our street.
Oh, house.
Cheers, Jimmy. Last night, my wife sent me a text saying she was in casualty. When I got home, I watched all 50 minutes of it. I never saw her once. She still hasn't come home yet. I'm starving.
Go.
And Highways Agency sign. Work starts here 5th of January for 147 years. Delays possible. Another Star Wars one from Andrew Malloy this time. That's a fantastic house on wheels. I love that, Andrew.
Oh.
And one of those cartoon ones we haven't had for a while. "Oh, dear, your breath stinks," says the old man.
Oh.
Ah. Oh.
And it blows my mind that NASA is able to receive data from 4.67 billion miles away, but I lose Wi-Fi signal in my kitchen. I think we've all got that issue. Perfect proof of how alcohol can ruin a good photo. And I don't know what's worse, the straw placement or the eye contact you'll have to make while using it. And apologies to all the ladies in the chat. "Honey, the car's getting hot. What should I do?" "Tell the car you have a headache." Last
Oh,
few.
dear.
The A-team's back. A slightly scaled down version, especially the motor. And this one as well. When you've been single for a while, but you've got plans that require a dress.
Oh, dear.
And And Dave was starting to think his man was never coming back. And I love this sign on the back of this American car: dodging potholes, not drunk. Sure, the police will pay attention to that. Another text one from George. What do you want for your password? Chicken. It needs a capital. Chicken Kiev.
Oh, God.
And your shuttle bus driver is hung.
Well,
Little bit too much information. This was brilliant as well. My dad just sent me this to prove he has hair. Balancing a bottle top on top of the bit of hair that he's got in his head. And an Australian wine company's ad, some say you can almost taste the bush.
Oh.
right.
A Viagra truck was in an accident this week, lads.
Well,
And I think this one got sent off the back of Britain's Got Talent. Babe, show me what you can do with your hands. Okay, top two. This man was on Bullseye twice.
brilliant.
And shout out to the truckers leaving bottles of apple juice for thirsty hitchhikers.
Yeah.
Thanks to everybody who sent those in. Some great ones this week. Keep them coming.
Yeah.
If you want to send one to us, go to Facebook, join our group, or like our page, or send it to me at Steve Wraith on X, and we will feature them on the show next week. Okay, if you are watching on Facebook, LinkedIn, or X today, please search NUFC Matters on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. We've got 930 watching live tonight, and 400 of you are on those other platforms. So please give us a bit of support. We do 7 shows a week. Be great to have your support. Okay, let's get back to the football side of things. Tony Lister, we'll go with your question. He says, "Afternoon, gentlemen. What's the thought on the England team omissions? Personally, I think Maddison isn't a great surprise, but I was a little surprised at Grealish not being included. Mitch, international football is upon us. Euros on their way, and Gordon and Trippier are both selected. But yeah, talk about the two lads from the Tyne who are going, but also about those omissions."
Well, look, 2 lads from the Tyne have proved across the entire season that they're worth value in the England squad. Anthony Gordon in particular. When it comes to Maddison, he's had injuries, and he's not really set the place alight in the second half of the season. In spite of, we keep being told that Postecoglou's just about reinvented football. Maddison's looked short of fitness and short of ideas, to be honest with you. Grealish, yeah, maybe I was a little surprised at Grealish too, but I don't wonder, is he finally paying the price a little bit for some of the lifestyle questions that people have levelled at him, with somebody like Gordon informing on the scene? That if it was down to a straight choice between the two, Grealish hasn't forced his way into the Man City side on a regular basis. He's been more of a bench impact player. He still has had more questions over his lifestyle and the way he behaves sometimes away from football, rather than people talking about his football, in contrast to Anthony Gordon. So in that respect, I don't wonder if it's been a straight choice between those two. And on form and as an individual, Gordon comes out on top in both respects.
Okay, George, what was your take on the England squad selection? I thought Southgate got it right. It was nice to see him finally grow some and get rid of some of these players who he's had a bit of loyalty to, whether they were injured or not. So Maguire hasn't made it, of course, either.
Particularly Maguire. I mean, if you'd picked Maguire, it would have been a sin. He's done nothing for his club for 2 years now, for me, if not more. So to see him in that squad always used to irritate me. If he'd been in again, it would be a sin. No surprises about Maddison. Of all the players, the top players that visited St James's Park this year, he's been one of the most disappointing when he came from Spurs, because I've seen a top player who, as soon as they went 2 down, he disappeared from the game. Didn't want the ball. It was sad to see, and if his attitude's like that most of the time, then he's not going to be any good to England either. So that doesn't surprise me. Grealish, no, on the basis of what Neil just said about the way he behaves, both on and off the field. Sometimes he does great things, like the things he did giving the kids shirts and that sort of thing. But then he goes and messes it up by getting photographed in nightclubs and all that sort of rubbish and what have you. And if you're talking about direct comparison, is it Gordon or Grealish? Well, Gordon wins hands down. He never stops. You can't say that about Grealish. 2 or 3 good dribbles in a game if you're lucky. But Gordon, he's at the opposition 90 minutes. Nobody gets a rest when Anthony Gordon's around. And in reverse, when he came, quite a lot of us, and I wasn't sure, thought that he would be a pain for us, never mind anything else. And what has he been? He's been a model professional because he's listened. Now, I wish Grealish had listened some time ago, even before he went to Manchester City. He might have been a better player for it. But if anybody's earned a place for his attitude, his style of play, it's Gordon. I mean, he's just outstanding. He and Bruno are the 2 most foul players in the Premiership. He's scored more goals this year than he did in his Everton career entirely, and more assists as well. So on the basis of improvement and making it look like he wanted to play for England, then Gordon gets it for me without any hands down. The other thing is he hasn't forgot himself either. Grealish does occasionally, like the rubbish there was about Miggy, about laughing at Miggy and all that sort of thing. That's not very professional, to put it mildly. Where Gordon, quite the opposite, very professional, interviewed about what would he rather do when it's something for England or for his club. Well, the club, obviously, they pay me wages. I mean, what a sensible answer. No real surprise. Slightly Grealish maybe, but not a surprise entirely because he's not been looking the part. Is the only way that I would describe it. And Maddison, when he was at St James's Park, didn't look like an England player at all.
Okay, Steve, we're talking England. We're talking about the squad, the players who are going and players who aren't. Kieran Trippier and Anthony Gordon selected, of course, after Gareth Southgate chopped the squad down. And what's your thoughts on those who made it and those who didn't?
I think he's tried to go for a balanced squad. The surprise for me was Branthwaite, probably the only left-footed centre back around that he had available, and I'm surprised he didn't find a place for him. As for Grealish, I don't think it was Grealish or Gordon. I think Grealish has fallen into the trap of, in the same way as we had a very, very skillful quality footballer in Glenn Hoddle, but his face didn't fit. You can go back further and you can think of Tony Curry, back in the 70s, Rodney Marsh, all lovely footballers, but not quite, because they were individual, if you like, in the midfield, and did things that perhaps the manager wasn't expecting. Frank Worthington, there's another striker who very flamboyant, very good, but didn't get the international caps perhaps that people thought he deserved. Paul Scholes, another midfielder in the same vein, and of course our own Malcolm MacDonald, Supermac, who I always felt deserved to play many, many more times for England than he did. But I don't think, like I say, I don't think it was a case of Gordon v Grealish. I think it was very much the fact that you look at Grealish and you think, well, he hasn't been fit for quite a long spells of the season. Gordon's been on fire. He's been on form throughout the season. The performances he's put in, the goals he's scored, he's had that ability to play off the left, off the right, and down the middle at times. Yes, we've got an abundance of very similar players. we've now gone with probably, I don't know what the facts are, but probably the youngest squad that we've taken to a championships in an awful long time.
Yeah.
Which is surprising, but looks good on paper. It's just a case of whether or not, with some of those players who are they, you know, there's a long said, you know, if you're good enough, then you're old enough. I think that's the phrase that a lot of coaches use. But at international level, it's new to them. Will they come in as, you know, without fear? I think they probably will if they get the opportunity. You look on paper as well and think, well, England must be firm favourites. The Germans under Nagelsmann seems to have strengthened a little bit. The Italians aren't as strong as they were in 2021 when they won the competition. Are the French? Is it a tournament too far for the current French squad? Who knows? But they do have Mbappe, who, you know, when it comes to the crunch, always seems to perform in the big games. You just look at the World Cup in a couple of seasons ago, and you saw the way that he played in that cup final. So it's just leading to a very, very good championship. But I suppose, is it the last chance saloon for Southgate? Will this be his last championships, win or lose? Will he, if he wins, will he go out on a high? 4 tournaments that he's had. If he loses, is that a case of, I've had 4 goes now and I haven't managed it? Because I think a lot of the press will look at that squad and look at the talent that he's got and think this is probably your best chance of all to come away with a trophy. So it's going to be exciting. It's going to be an interesting. I love tournaments when it comes down to it. You know, I'm one of these people who moans and moans about England internationals and such, like whether they're friendlies or qualifying all the way through. But like everybody else, when it comes to the tournament, you suddenly start rubbing your hands together with glee. I'm thinking of my pal over in Bahrain who's going to be there at the opening ceremony, and I'm thinking, great, that's what it's all about. It's given, you know, getting there and is a one-off, an opportunity to really sort of absorb the whole thing. We'll be doing it from home, but Stu will be doing it in the stadium, and I think that's fantastic. And I can't wait to hear when he gets back from all 3 games exactly what he's going through or what he's gone through. And I know what he's going to have to go through to get there and to get back to work in time for the next Monday. But it's just tournament football is just great, and it's a filler till the start of the proper season, Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of people asking which top I've got. It's not the professional one, it's just the £80 one. It's really good quality, but like we've all said, you know, it should be. It's Adidas. Les, get well soon. Les not feeling too good. Mozza and Alan are on the mend though, which is good news. I've been watching it, keeping an eye on the chat. Get well soon to them. And good to see 970 of you watching live on a Friday night. Facebook, LinkedIn, X, where you were watching as well. Please open another window, jump onto YouTube and Google it. Look for NUFC Matters, and you will find a channel there and a subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button. Come and join us. We do 7 shows a week. And just want to give, as we always do, once a month, a big thank you to everybody who tunes in. We managed to pull in an extra 162 new subscribers. 169,000 total views and 2.6 million minutes watched this month. Thank you for your support. We never take it for granted, and thank you so much for all your kind comments we get each night as well. Okay, we are going to have a quick break. We will be back after the ads. A big thanks to all our sponsors: Skips and Bins, telephone 0800 25 45 25 3, email inquiries at skipsandbins.com, website skipsandbins.com, easy contract free and pay-as-you-go waste collection. Thanks to Mr. Vicky's Sauces, handmade in Cumbria. Their website, mrvickies.co.uk, telephone 01768 210 102, or email info@mrvickies.co.uk. Thanks to United Group Travel. There are no strangers in our tours, just friends you haven't met yet. Their website, unitedgrouptravel.com, email beverly.ugtl@gmail.com, telephone 01670 632 460, or mobile 0791 666 4174. Thanks to Media Arts for the technical side of things. And you can also find us as a podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or other podcast providers. You can subscribe to the channel by hitting the subscribe button underneath this video. Hit the all notifications bell so you don't miss a show. Hit the thumb up to like the channel and click share to share to your social media. If you want to join the channel, then click join for as little as $1.99 a month. If you want to become a member for a one-off £25 payment, email John at nufcmatters.com or go to membership at the website nufcmatters.com. If you've got a smartphone, hold your camera over the QR code and it'll take you straight there. We also help the food bank on this channel. Go to nufcfansfoodbank.co.uk to the matchday bucket and you can leave a virtual donation today. And just over 5 weeks till the end of season 2, 20th of July. Tickets from nufcmatters.com or newcastlelegends.com. Priced at a tenner. Supermac, Gibbo, George and the Long Sands will be on stage, all in aid of Dementia Matters. Do not miss out on what will be a wonderful night. And Gibbo and Rob Lee are doing an event at the City Hall, 2nd of August. And tickets are £15 via Ticketmaster.co.uk. And don't forget, if you want to watch the Euros, Gateshead Leisure Centre are streaming all the games, all the England games down there. And they're making an announcement next week. I think they've got a couple of pre-match talk-ins before the England games as well. So go to Gateshead Leisure Centre, hit the like button on Facebook and find out more about what Gateshead Leisure Centre has got to offer. The centre opens now on the 14th of June. So well done, everybody involved down there. All right, as always.
Sounds good.
It'll be good, mate. It will be good.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a lot to get through, as always, on a Friday night. Time for a little bit of this. Not as many tonight, and no need to hide, Steve. Matt Ritchie has signed for MLS side Inter Miami. That's a brilliant one. That I got sent that last week, and I meant to show it last week. Gordon Ramsay, of course, but the look of him and Matt Ritchie is very, very similar. Steve Hasty, when he was the Hollies frontman, says Milburn. I'm sure Steve wouldn't be too bothered about that one, Steve. At least it's not a dog.
I wouldn't mind having his money.
Yeah, you wouldn't mind having his money, definitely not. But there has been a few other Steve Hasty lookalikes sent in. I do need to load them. Though. I'm sure Steve would probably say don't bother. Paul Oxley sent this one. Now that's pretty good. That's our new COO, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Harry Styles. Can you see that, lads?
Yeah.
The mouth, the nose bit.
In the mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's it. Paul, it's not a bad one. We haven't criticised you. Rita and Geordie Jackson are getting married next week. So it won't be Rita Oxley anymore. It'll be Rita Jackson. So we just want to wish them from NFC Matters all the very best on your nuptials.
She never asked my permission when I seen her at the Irish Centre, mate.
Well, that's it. The deal's done now, and I hope they have a great time. I'm sure it'll go well. All the best from me and the lads and everybody who works at NFC Matters, especially for the amount of lookalikes you've sent this week. Steve Hasty, one there from Rita, with sunglasses on because it's sunny. Steve without his sunglasses on in the sun, and Steve after his blow dry. Thanks, Rita. Always good to get the little lookalikes from you. We had another one as well from Jimmy, Tune lookalike, the Hasty Twins. And the last but by no means least on the dog thing from Jimmy, Tune lookalike, Prime Minister Hasty.
Can you get away from it? Can you? Can I get away from it?
You definitely can, mate. You definitely can. I like this one from Milburn. Lewis Hall and Joe 90.
Yes, fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
This was a good one from Jimmy as well. Porto's Alan Varela and David Ornstein. Very good, that. Very good, Jimmy.
Yeah, the reporter, yeah.
Mike Whistle said, saw an advert on TV and thought he saw Mitch.
What?
And we've got another few from Rita. Multiple manager Carlo Ancelotti and multiple murderer John Wayne Gacy.
Jeez, it's a bit harsh.
Yeah.
Yes. Another one from Rita. Rita Jackson, obviously mentioned in there, is going to be Rita Jackson for next week. So Dortmund manager Edin Zirkic and former England scrum half Kieran Bracken. It's not bad, that, Rita.
Yeah, you can see it. You can see it. Yeah.
One from Geordie Jackson, Monk Winger, and Doctor Who Sea Monster. So Jim Ratcliffe, of course.
Yeah.
And another one from Geordie, possible director of football, Paolo Maldini, and American serial killer, Richard the Night Stalker Ramirez. That's very good, that joke.
Yeah.
It's good. Mitch sent us a link to loads of lookalikes. I've just selected this one: Jeremy Allen White and Gene Wilder. That's almost like separated at birth. That one.
Yeah,
and War Hasty in the 1970s.
Ah,
got your best
Steve,
side there, Steve.
I'm not sure what you were up to, Steve, but, it would be remiss if it's not to give Mike Ashley a big shout out on the day of our biggest strip launch for many a year. So there's a lookalike there. And Gareth Barty and Nathan Barty, formerly of Spider VPN, who were our sponsors for many moons ago. Gareth sent this in. He says, Alan Partridge is the double of our Nathan, don't you think?
Gareth,
yeah, it is. Sorry, Nathan. You've got to get him back, Nathan. You've got to get him back. This was another one from Tom, I think. Is that the same actors?
Yes.
It is. So it is a lookalike, but it's not quite a lookalike. Yeah. I get where you're coming from with that now. Yeah. Stuart Adamson, Big Country, and Rob, Talk of the Tune, Give Up the Ghost UK. And that has been sent in by Rob. Very good, that, Rob. Very good. You have got that little bit of a look there. Winner this week, though, is the Anthony Lewins. Steve, Jamie Vardy lookalike for next week. C. Taylor, Crystal Palace, 1969. Very good, that, Anthony.
Yeah.
Look, that's
the other one. Where's the tag?
If you've got lookalikes, send them to the Facebook.
Got the hang of this, hasn't he?
He has,
Anthony's
yeah. There's no dogs.
Yeah.
If you've got a lookalike, send it to our Facebook group. It's quickly approaching 10,000. You just need to hit the join button for that. And if you want to hit the Facebook page, which is nearly at 3,000 now, then please hit the like button on there. And you can leave your lookalikes on there, or simply follow me on X at Steve Wraith, and I will pick them up on there. Now, we've been talking about Liam Kennedy coming back to the show, and unfortunately, due to contractual arrangements, he's not going to be able to do it now. It's good news for him. It's bad news for us, but we've got a cameo appearance from the lad tonight. Liam Kennedy from the Shield, the Newcastle World Editor, is back on the platform. How are you, mate?
Really good. Honestly, it's just like being among old friends, isn't it? Like coming back on here.
Yeah.
I've missed it. Really missed being on the show. It's used to take up me Tuesday nights, but it was always quality, like conversing with people and obviously seeing you guys. And I think all the years that I was on here, I made good friends in all of you guys on this program and the community that's involved in NUFC Matters. I credit NUFC Matters and you, Steve, for helping me along in my career, and I can't thank you enough for having me on this platform. And I hope everybody did enjoy the time that I was on. But as you mentioned, you hinted at, there are certain things that are going on. I can't 100% reveal what they are yet, but work have clamped down and said that's the end of that with any other YouTube channels or anything that's going on or promoting anything else. We want you to work and promote what we're doing. So there is something coming along the lines with a couple of my colleagues who work for us. Dominic Skur, who works for the Shields Gazette, and Jordan Cronin, who work for Newcastle World. We do lots of videos together. You may be, it's a bit of a tease, you'll probably see we're on a totally different platform from the next few weeks. That's all I can really say on it.
Yeah, okay.
I think I know what it is, Steve. I think I know what it is. One of three things. He's either going on Strictly, he's going in the jungle, Right, there's the first two. And the third one, which is way out of kilter. There's no way they'll have him on Love Island. So
Is there not a place for a slightly bald and overweight Geordie on Love Island? Is that not a thing?
Well, you better get in the queue, man. I've been waiting for 20 bloody years.
Good stuff. Okay, well, we've got you then, because this is your farewell for now anyway. If things change, I know you're keen to come back, and we will have you back
definitely.
on here. But first of all, well done on Geordie Journos. I don't watch any other podcasts, mate, as you know. I've told you this many times, but I do watch Geordie Journos. I think it's been great to see you lads progress as you have done. It's difficult. It's a difficult arena because there's so many Newcastle United podcasts, but I think, you know, your insight, you and the lads' insight into the club and the after-match stuff's good. I can't obviously watch it after the game because I'm usually out and about, or I'm making my own way back from the games, and you know, but I always catch up with it the following day, and it is great, mate. It is great to see. So well done on that, Geordie Journos. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you do. It's a great channel to watch. You've also had the opportunity to play on the pitch, Liam, this week.
Yes.
So Lee Ryder, who I hadn't heard from for a few months, texted me the other day to tell me that he'd scored a goal. You didn't. We met up for a coffee this week, and you told us face to face, mate. You didn't have to text us. Tell us what happened.
Well, I'm just a different kind of character, Lee. I know he likes shouting from the rooftops, and his celebration was quite interesting after he scored a goal. It was actually Dominic Skir who missed an absolute sitter, and the ball just deflected off the goalkeeper, and Lee was just in the right place at the right time. I'm not going to give him an amazing amount of credit for that, but he lived a dream, and he ran towards the corner flag in the corner of the Gallagher East stand. I thought he was going to lift it up and start swinging it around with his top on, but he stopped short of doing that. That was a great experience, honestly. I never in this job, in some ways, you never forget how privileged you are. Like, we get to go to games, we get to invite it to things like that, and it is kind of like living out a little boy's dream. That's what it felt like. I've always been a bit the centre half defender by trade. I've never played any further forward, but what I mean is not a very good one at that. The centre half positions got took up very quickly. So did the holding midfielder, and it turned to me and Craig Hope. Hope just went, right, you're playing up front with me. So I played up front. He was the number 10. I sort of held it up a little bit, and he cut one back for us on the edge of the box at the Gallagher end. And it was behind us. I controlled with my left foot. I haven't got a left foot. It's just a swinger. I thought, you know what, I'm going to try and bend this in the top corner. Honestly, from the minute it left my foot, it actually landed in the top corner. There is no video evidence of this, by the way. So it might just be that I'm sort of adding arms and legs or something. But believe me, it was the best goal I've ever scored. I'm never likely to score a goal anything like it. And I just gave up from there. Jordan Cronin turned to me halfway through the second half when he was chirping away. I gave him a little bit back. We're playing on different teams, of course. And he turned around and said, Liam, I forgot you were playing. Because after 20 minutes when I scored, that was my bucket list ticked. It was the end of that. I never kicked the ball.
Good stuff, mate. Milk it while you can. You can live off that for at least 12 months until you play the next time. Got to ask you, you know, just a couple of questions on you know, what we've seen today. First of all, the strip launch, it's amazing, isn't it? I mean, this is the kind of day we were looking forward to when the ownership came in. Just a complete change of feeling around the club and atmosphere, and hundreds of people queuing up from, you know, as we've already had my mate on this afternoon, Kenny Trainer, who was first in the queue. He was there at midnight last night, and he got up out of bed at 11 o'clock and couldn't sleep and headed up to the ground. So great to have that kind of atmosphere again at the club and seeing people queuing up and buying the top on the launch date. Yeah,
it's unheard of, isn't it? The modern era of Newcastle United, because of everything that's gone on. Obviously, of course, just rolling back short, the Castoria stuff was rubbish. I think I won't be the only person to say that. I think some of the design, there was some thought went into it. It was quite nice. But the overall quality of the kits, I've had a couple of them in the Tyne, bought some for the kids as well. They're not great. But you go back to Adidas, it's just, it feels big time again, doesn't it? And I think that's what's captured the city. There's so many happy memories. They weren't winning memories, but they were goal close memories. Lots of heroes wore that black and white shirt with the 3 stripes. just a positive feeling, and I think it needed it. I think it almost felt like after last season, even though in relative terms, success-wise, it was a good season, there was that kick in the balls basically at the end with Manchester United winning the cup and no European football. There's been a lot of sort of things dragging on in the background. I think the city needed this, and I think the way that Adidas have treated the launch has been quite incredible. The video that they put out yesterday, I think I probably won't be the only person who was totally blown away by the amount of effort and the subtle hints to sort of memes and things that we see on the internet and past heroes and pictures. And I just thought it was really quite special. And I think this is only the start as well. There's meant to be a few other things going on. There's going to be another couple of launches with the 2 other kits over the next 2 months. So if you're waiting around for the, as we know it to be, the 3rd kit with the nufc badge on it, I think you'll have to wait till the start of August for that one. But I think that's what I'm going to hang on for. I'm going to get the kids the black and white ones. I think I'm going to wait for that, or maybe some more. I think Mitch will probably enjoy this type of stuff with his love of retro things and stuff like that. I think the retro range, the originals range, is really what I'm looking forward to seeing and getting my hands on.
I've been looking at on the UAE website here today, and they've got a range from Real Madrid that they call Real Madrid Essentials, which are trefoiled and simple badges and hints of retro. And just to think we're up there, we're getting that, and I will probably be able to buy that on the UAE website. It's mind-blowing. Absolutely. Bearing in mind, when I first came to Dubai, if anybody was in a black and white kit, it was Juventus. And I think now we're going to very much see that change. And we've come a long way in 12 years.
Are you starting to see that? Are you starting to see that?
Oh, yeah.
More support of the club in your region?
You've got to look at what we're doing with the Dubai Mags. We've grown so much in the last 2 years. We've had to move venue. We're going to a new venue for next season because we've outgrown Brooklyn Bar. On a Saturday for a 3 o'clock kickoff, we're getting between 100 and 120 people. And it's families. It's families, it's all ages. It's not just angry men shouting at the television screen. It's an entire experience. I think also the other thing you see is if you speak to some of the families here, when they first came over, their kids, if they wore their football kits for PE at school, sometimes they were having the piss taken out of them. And now they've got kids coming up asking them, where can I get a kit? I want one. And because the nature of football support out here is very much, as you will know from having done stuff with Ali Khaled across at the Gulf News, they like to jump on a winning horse. Yeah. And so anybody that's seen as a positive and something going forward, they want to jump off. But I think it's great for the kids of the Geordie families out here can go into school and stick their shirt on and stick their chest out, not sort of shuffle in the corner and feel a little uncomfortable because the first question they're asked is, well, why is that not Juventus? So I think, and it is palpably changing. The recognition. I feel for Noon, actually, our shirt sponsors haven't had a bit of dealings with them last year because they got let down so badly by Castori. The guy who was the head of football at Noon told me he'd written them an email and made them what he believed was the single biggest order that Castoria would have ever had. And they didn't even reply to the email. And it just shows how different now we're tier 1 Adidas, not just Adidas, not just template kits. We're setting the templates. It's a massive change.
It is. It's a huge change. We've got 1,000 watching live tonight. Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter.
Wow.
Thanks for everyone tuned in on there. Please hit the subscribe button on the YouTube
everybody.
channel. Liam, I won't keep you much longer. Two questions. Blue Rhythm Boys asked one. Who does Liam think will be the biggest name to leave the club this summer? What's your thoughts on that, Liam? Your own opinion, of course.
Biggest name, Kieran Trippier, would be my early summer shout. I don't think that's a secret to anybody out there. But there's been things in the pipeline with Kieran Trippier for quite some time, and it would be no shock to see things develop. That's all I can say. I can't say a massive amount more.
No, and that's your opinion, exactly. The big question is, how much do you think we've got to spend? I think any journalist worthy salt, has got to try to get to the bottom of that. It's proven very difficult. Newcastle aren't going to show their hand going into a transfer window. I've seen lots of suggestions. Stu on here, on the professionals, and on Geordie's here, Geordie's there, maintains he feels that Newcastle will spend in the region of £200 million. Throughout the summer. That will be wheeling and dealing, incomings, outgoings. He believes that. What that's based on, he's told us many, many times on the show. The flip side of that, of course, is Ben Jacobs, who on this show and on his own platform and on other shows has said Newcastle have 50 or 60 million pound to spend. Where do you think we are at with spends this summer? Where do you think Newcastle are at with what they can spend?
Before I get into that, I don't know if anybody saw the Sky stuff that came out yesterday. It was actually from a good friend of mine that I've known since I started out in the industry, Lyle Thomas, who's a news editor down at Sky Sports. Did a piece with Kieran Maguire where he talked about the idea Newcastle United must sell a prized asset before the end of the month. And I think it's set a hair off that is just beyond untrue. That isn't how I believe the situation to be. And I very quickly corrected him on that. And it has since been taken down, I suspect, more to do with the Chelsea inaccuracies that were in that story than anything else. I think Newcastle United are very close. They're very close to the PSR calculations. I think anybody who's, got fingers and toes can kind of work that out from the spends that they've had in the last 3 years. Of course, we don't know the ins and outs because a lot of things are deductible, and you guys on here are probably better qualified than me to go into the details of things that can and can't be counted in these PSR calculations. Newcastle are close. I think my understanding is I don't think there'll be a load of money, but I can see where. Did you say it was Stu talking about the idea of spending 200 million?
Stu reckons 200 million, yeah.
So I can see why he comes to that conclusion. Probably because if you did get rid of the players who are right at the top of where we'd expect to go out, which is Almiron, Trippier, and Wilson, if you did get rid of those players for somewhere in the region of, I'm saying 15, 10. 40 million, if you could get somewhere in and around that for those players, then that opens up a huge level of wiggle room when it comes to PSR, as we understand it to be at this present time. I don't necessarily think that's the way they're thinking at the moment. I actually can also, so you give two very obvious figures there, 250 million. And really, in normal terms, there isn't actually a massive amount between them. If you got rid of a few players, that 200 million opens up very quickly. But as things stand at the moment, if you're talking about how much they have to spend, you're probably not far off where Ben Jacobs says. That was effectively what it was last summer. I would expect it to be similar this year, that they'd have that around-ish, that amount to spend. Then if they opened up the door by at least allowing one or two of those to go, it really opens the door. Last year, they were able to sign Sandro Tonali, but couldn't really do anything else in full beyond that without letting Alan St. Maximin go. I think they're in a similar situation, but I think this time round, there's certain players that feel like they're coming to the end of their trajectory in Newcastle United. I don't necessarily think they are. I think there's quite a lot of, this is a massive criticism of people. I do think there's a culture of disrespect in certain ways that does get felt by certain players at certain times as well, by the way. That, Callum Wilson suddenly becomes just fodder, like somebody you can just get rid of. He gets disrespected in many ways because of his injury record. It's his body that's failed him, not his quality. Kieran Trippier almost gets written off. It's like, well, he's gone, get rid of him. When, let's remember, he was one of the most transformative figures post-takeover that this club's had, for whether he was good or bad last season. I think things like that are easily forgotten. Miguel Almiron, yes, he lacks quality in certain respects, but he's been a good signing for the money that was spent on him, which was never what was released by Mike Ashley. But the money that was spent on him and the return that he's had, and of course, scored the goal that basically brought Newcastle United back to the Champions League party against PSG. So I think there's a little bit of disrespect in that sense by some fans, and you see it on social media. But also, I kind of agree with the idea that if Newcastle United progress and progress is what we want at this football club, then you have to see change. If you keep too much the same, you don't move forward. You stand still. And in football, we know that means moving backwards. So I think, going back to your original question, how much do I think they've got? I think they'll end up spending a similar. If I had to guess now, I think they'll end up spending a similar amount of what they did last summer, and I think that'll be enough to see them progress, because I think there'll be enough there for one big signing. I think they'll have to fiddle around with a couple of others, and then I think if they get rid of somebody, you will see somebody in the region of like a Barnes level type come in somewhere around. You've got to remember as well that they've already spent in the region of 25 of their summer budget by just making Lewis Hall permanent, which obviously is going to happen by hook or by crook. So, and I think if you'd asked me 3 months ago whether I thought that was negative towards Newcastle United's business, I would have been unequivocal in saying yes. I think that's a big spend on a player who isn't contributing a lot to the squad, but having seen him in those final weeks of the season, you can tell there is a real footballer there. Of course, he's still raw defensively and still needs that coaching, but it's testament to the coaching that he's had this season that he's kind of got over that hump of coming to the football club and really not being anywhere close to a Premier League defender. You can tell he's a good player. He's got a good left foot and gets forward. And now, having seen him in those last few weeks of the season, at risk of getting carried away, I think 25 million looks like a bit of a snip, in fairness.
Yeah,
definitely does, mate. Definitely does. Okay, well, your time at nufc matters, mate, has come to an end. We just want to personally thank you for being such a big part of it on a Tuesday for at least 18 months, mate. We had some right laughs, we had some dodgy internet, we had some dark moments because of your lighting system. We had dog gate with the dog coming into your life, and kids walking in on the broadcast. But overall, mate, we had some great laughs, and our friendship, as most people know, goes beyond that. We were friends long before podcasts, COVID, and all of that came in, and that will continue. Look forward to catching up with you once a month, mate, for a coffee and chewing the fat about Newcastle, and hopefully get away to a few games with you next season, mate. But keep up the good work on Geordie Journos. Look forward to your big announcement in due course. And have you got a final message for the listeners and viewers?
No, just to thank you to everybody who's supported over the years. It has been an amazing journey. I can't promise I've always been the most professional, as you alluded to there, Steve, and I don't really think that changes much. If anybody does watch the Geordie Journals, they'll get a sense of that as well. But yeah, it's just been fantastic. Honestly, I can't thank you enough for giving us the opportunity to do this. We set out with very small goals. I don't think we ever set out with the idea that it would become a weekly thing. It was just us having known each other through the boxing scene and things like that. It was just us coming on, having a big crack, talking about my memories of Newcastle United, and it kind of just grew arms and legs and built into something really quite special, as did the channel. I think during that COVID period where there was so many people struggling at home, mentally, physically, whatever it may be, just with the struggles everybody faced during that time, it seems crazy to think back on it now. It was almost another lifetime. But I like to think that we brought a little bit of warmth with you guys as well, with your Amigos show at the weekend. I think we brought a little bit of warmth into people's homes where they were struggling for that at the time, and became a regular part of people's daily just what they did. And we missed football so much, and I hope if we did anything, it was just we brought that little bit of positivity back into their lives. And it carried on, and I think it had its time, and I think we really enjoyed it. And who's to say that it won't have its time again? Like we've said before, this isn't necessarily the end, but it's just the end on this little chapter. And of course, we all remain friends. I speak to all of you guys outside of this. You're all top people, and I'm so happy that through this process that we met and we got along. And again, stretching that out further, there's been so many people who even follow me now on social media, that reach out, that watch Geordie Journals, that get involved in the stories that we write, comment, that started watching on nufc matters. And I'll never forget that, because I think it was a major stepping stone for me, not just covering the club as a journalist. And it was an amazing thing to do. It was quite cathartic for me in a way as well, to be able to come on a Tuesday and almost unload everything that you want to say about it. It might be somebody else's stories, it might be your own stories, it might be comments in the chat, but it's been an amazing experience. And I'm waffling as I always do. You could probably leave me on here, Steve, and not say another word, and I'd still be talking in half an hour's time. So I think I'm probably going to have to. I'm going to have to get off and leave you two guys to the serious. Yeah, you guys to the serious talk, and let the viewers get on with the Friday nights that they used to.
Before
words
you
from Liam.
go,
Proper
Liam,
class.
before you go, Liam, I've rewritten that line for you. It was actually tapped in by Ryder after a poorly placed effort by Skur.
I look forward to you sending us that report through. I look forward to it.
I love that. I love that. Okay, mate. Liam is going to come along to the end of season 2. So if you want to see him and if you want to buy him a drink, get him one in there. But Liam, as always, thanks for your time, mate. Keep in touch. See you soon, mate. Take care.
See you guys.
All the best, pal.
Cheers, Liam.
Great to have him on.
Liam.
Top man. And as I say, give Geordie Journos a sub. Fantastic channel. Always a go-to for me these days when I have a little bit of spare time. Okay, time to wake you up with a little bit of this. Yeah, mate, where we ask you to send in photographs of you meeting somebody from Newcastle United, past or present. We have this one. Thank you from Marty. I think he's in the chat tonight as well. Him with a great Alan Shearer. Thank you for that one, mate. And an acting one today from Menorca Magigans. Andy says hello from Menorca. And of course, it's my old mate, Andy Beckwith, who I was in Rise of the Foot Soldier with and have got a good friendship with. He's in Menorca and he's been converted into a Toon fan. So thank you for that photo, John, and thanks for the memories. Thanks for passing on my message to Andy as well. Hope you had a great time out there. If you've got a photo you want to send in and show on the show, send it to me at Steve Wraith on X or get onto our Facebook group and join or hit the Facebook page and like, and we will feature it on the show and play this wonderful music. And thanks to Andrew Malloy. Love the show, lads. I've been a member for over 3.5 years now. Thank you for that, mate. It's a small price. A small price you have to pay if you want to join the channel. Just hit join, and that's your way you can support us as well. We've also got super chats as well. If you want to stick it into the Malverno Fund, Gavin, the badge is patch. It's stitched onto the shirt. It's embroidered onto the shirt, mate. It's really good design, mate. It's quality, mate. And Chris asked about the Cellar Cup. I was speaking to Liam about this yesterday. There is going to be a Cellar Cup, 100%. The teams haven't been announced yet. They've already confirmed it's not going to be a big team anyway. We're not going to be playing Milan, for example, but it will be, I think, a Spanish team and an Italian team, and that is the weekend, the 10th and the 11th of August, which is the last available. And Paul Charlton, was good to see you in the queue this morning. I really enjoyed the process this morning, and I got to meet Darren Eales, he said. And yeah, we've avoided the politics side of things this morning. Lots of people talking about lots of things with Man City. So I've got to address it, George. I'll come to you first. Afternoon, what's the best for Newcastle United? A City win or a Premier League win? And that's the same from Benny. Do we want Man City to succeed in their litigation with the Premier League? What would you say, George?
Time the Premier League had a bloody nose of somebody. It's got to come. It's got to come. You know, the level of incompetence of that organisation over the last 20 years, never mind recently, is mind-boggling. And it needs to be shown up. And if City are going to show them up, then fine. I think a City win is good for football clubs, would be good for football fans, and it would make the Premier League change dramatically. It would have to. I mean, what people forget is when they go to arbitration, you go into arbitration with something which is a civil matter. But once the arbitrator, who will probably be a top judge, makes his decision, it becomes a criminal matter if you don't do what you're told. Well, that's a whole different ball game. Premier League couldn't cope with that, and it's time they were put in their place. So for me, come on, City, pave the way for everybody else. The only other thing about it is that I've got a sneaking fancy that what's triggered this is somebody in the Premier League's leaked to City what they think's going to happen to them over their misdemeanors. So they decided to get in first. I could be wrong, but that's how I read it anyway. But no, if City wins, we win, in my opinion.
All right. What's your feelings, and Mitch, on the big case?
Oh, if City win, then for us it's a potential free for all. I've even seen it suggested that we've got deals lined up to announce, but they're pumping the brakes on them a little bit to watch and wait until see the outcome of the City case, because it might open the door for us to change those deals significantly. Whether that's true or not, I've got no idea. One thing's for sure, somebody had to snap. It was likely to be City, simply because they're having the 115 charge chucked back at them all the time, whilst Chelsea seem to be getting away with murder. But are they? The only people that are saying that Chelsea are having everything approved are Chelsea. I've not seen anything official from the Premier League saying, oh, we've approved the training ground sale, we've approved the hotel sales and the PSR. And bearing in mind, Chelsea have got some charges to face themselves after their self-reporting, which they hope to pin all on Abramovich. I wonder, part of me wonders, are the Premier League looking at some of the other things they've done since to go, but what about this? And what about this? And what about this? The problem is the more things procrastinate and the more things dawdle, it becomes more difficult to apply rules appropriately so the right people benefit and the wrong ones don't. Because, again, what do you do when you're applying retrospective punishment when it's way too late and perhaps, you know, at the time would have been better? And how do you then explain that to Everton and Forest? It's all a big mess. But eventually, somebody had to snap and go. Because part of me is quite glad that it's not us. Because we can still take a little bit of a high ground and say, look, we've done everything by the book. We've done what we were asked. The minute we do something out the line, there'll be loads of people, the Premier League included, waiting to go, see, we told you. So we have to be so careful. While Man City are ploughing across the water on a bloody jet ski, we're walking on the lily pads. And that's the problem. So it does a big favour for us to let them take the charge on. The one phrase, and I cannot place it and I cannot find it, they use this phrase, tyranny by majority. And I've heard a similar phrase used by somebody recently. And in my head, I wanted to say it was Amanda, but it's not. But I've heard that phrase somewhere else or something very similar recently in all of the mix of the PSR and football finance stuff that's been bounced around of late. It's not tyranny by majority, but there's far bigger things at play than we realise. Why are Crystal Palace so keen to help clubs other than us by making odd proposals about changing the rules here and tinkering with the rules there? Is it all to do with American ownership sticking together? I just don't know. Chelsea seem to be rogue at the moment. Like I said a couple of years ago, they looked like they were deliberately trying to fail FFP. Well, guess what? They failed it. And it looked deliberate, and I still think it was deliberate, and I still think they're pinning their hopes on everything being pinned on Abramovich. And that goes back to the government handling that situation incorrectly in the first place. What they should have done was just put Chelsea into administration and let it work itself out from there. That was the only sensible thing to do, but they were too frightened to do that, so they did something else. And it's the classic situation about appeasement achieving nothing. I am very, very happy to let City take this on and be the bad guys. Because I'm telling you now, if it was us, we'd be getting the blame for global warming and probably Ebola virus and God knows what else on top of everything, because we're the big bad wolf in certain corners still. David, Chelsea strip sponsor or a blue coat company who are sponsoring Chelsea to the tune of 20 times their turnover. How can that actually be right? And that's the kind of thing Chelsea are getting away with murder on. And the only thing I can hope of is that at least the Premier League shows some balls and say to them, right, you're here to discuss the self-reported failure of PSR that you gave, that you want to blame on Roman Abramovich. Can we discuss all these things you've done since? I'm not going to hold my breath, though.
Yes, you're chuckling away there, Steve.
Sorry.
I thought, well, Steve, I think he was having a laugh there about the whole thing. I was waiting for his comments, but he seems to have lost his internet connection, unfortunately. But Steve, are you there? No, he's gone. We'll take him out.
Nice smile, though. You could use that on his profile picture.
He could definitely do it. It looks better on the dog. Let's have a look. Yeah, he's gone. He's definitely gone. Okay, we've got other things to talk about. Go on, George, if you've got another point about that.
No, just this whole financial thing is, as I said at the beginning, it's time the Premier League got a bloody nose, and it's coming now, and it's coming at the right time. But there's this little thing in the back of my mind that says somebody's signaled to Manchester City what they're thinking of doing to them. So Manchester City's thought, right, we'll go first. I could be wrong, but that's how it smells to me.
Mitch, what did you make about this thing that was coming out on Sky Sports' socials about Newcastle and other clubs having to sell a player to balance the books? I mean, Mark Todd says surely this information should be confidential. Mitch?
Yes, it should. And somebody was mentioning in the chat about an Arsenal director falling on their sword. Yes, because the leak seems to be connected to his wife. And I think this is again the wheels within wheels that we see. I don't understand how they see this as something very easy to work out or not. But the information's coming from somewhere. That Sky Sports report that named us and Chelsea amongst other clubs was suddenly retracted. It would appear at the behest of Chelsea, but it also makes you wonder what other biased information or not clear information is there within. Very interesting.
What's your thoughts, George? Sky Sports have now deleted everything regarding that news. I've seen a lot of people saying that.
Well, I think somebody's rung them up and told them they're talking rubbish. And they've had to take it down. I think it didn't make sense. You couldn't add it all up. Is the honest answer. You just look at the clubs they're talking about or they're hinting at, and you think, well, okay, well, who's that going to be, and who's this going to be? And for us, it was always Bruno or Isaac, or something like that. That's not going to happen. And I think somebody's gone on the blower and told them so, and that side have taken it down.
Yeah. Okay, Steve.
Clickbait, in other words.
Before we lost you, Steve, you were listening to what Mitch said, so you were going to make a point. Give us your views on what we're talking about with Man City's case.
Yeah, I mean, City have done it because City have had this associated party sponsorship for many years, and they see it as a way of their wings being clipped, and they see it as the thin end of the wedge. And hence the reason why they have taken it on. Now, Newcastle are in a different position because Newcastle wanted to have associated party sponsorship. And the rules that came in 2021 stopped Newcastle, but were then going to impact on Man City. And Man City have just said, hang on, enough is enough. We know what's going on further up and down the food chain, and we're not going to have it. We're not prepared to put up with it. As Mitch says, you've got Chelsea with a sponsorship from a shirt company that's owned, or a sports company that's owned by Bowley and Co. In and yet they're able to pump more money in than the company's actually worth. And then they come up with some convoluted Americanized words that say, yes, but it's because it's a growth company and it's smaller and it's part of a much bigger organization and all that. And the Premier League go, yeah, that's fine, no problem. It's, as Mitch says, tyranny by authority. It was the words that are used in the 169-page report statement that Man City have placed in front of the FA and in front of the Premier League. I think I'm listening to various pundits who are saying that City don't stand a chance. I'm listening to other pundits saying, they've got a case, but blah, blah, blah. The top and bottom of it is it's anti-competitive. And in English law and British law, they're breaking the law. People are using their position as a group of 20 in a club of 20. There are a majority using their position to stifle the potential success of the minority, and they're able to put their foot on the neck of whoever they want if it has an impact on their success, and that success being the top 6/7. City have broken away. City have always been the ones that have broken away. They've always been the ones who, if you noticed in some of the votes recently that have taken place, have either abstained or have voted against or voted alongside Newcastle United at times. So City have always felt uncomfortable about being in that club. But they've been branded the top 6 because they've won the league 4 times out of the last 6 years. Hence the reason why people call them part of the top 6 or part of the big 6, if you like. The big 6 are the power brokers. And that's why people talk about the 7, because City aren't part of the power brokers because they don't want to be there. They see it as the wrong way to go. They want a free market. And I'm all for Man City winning the case. Obviously, I'm biased because I'm a Newcastle fan, but I'm also looking at it from historically, and I'm thinking there was never any issues when Man United were able to dominate the league for years and years. There were never any issues when it was Arsenal. Or when it was Chelsea under Abramovich. They were all happy. The 3 of them were happy to compete because it didn't impact their ability, because there was only 3 clubs really in the Champions League. Then it got extended to 4, so they got a happy friend to come along. Now we've got people interfering. We've got Aston Villa interfering. We've got Newcastle United interfering. We've got other clubs lurking below. They thought that Brighton were going to interfere this season, but they tailed off. But all those 3 clubs and others have the potential to start to break into that echelon at the top, especially if the financial constraints remain with the likes of a Man United, where they have owners who are taking money out of the club and have to take money out of the club. Jim Ratcliffe is not going to be the knight in shining armour coming over the hill and saving that football club. In fact, quite the opposite, judging by what he's been up to with just even the staff. So I'm happy with it. I know it's going to be. The sad thing is it's arbitration. B will not hear any of the findings unless certain clubs leak information, and that's the only way that we found out about Man City in the first place, because someone has leaked the information to the Times reporter, who has then published what he can, or what he wants to publish. He's either holding stuff back or feels as though some of the other information, if that he was aware of, would have given away his source, and that's fine. But when it comes to the actual decision, we'll just find out a year or a nay. We'll not find out any of the main detail because it probably doesn't need to be published either, which is disappointing. But let's hope it comes out with a City victory, and it shakes the whole of football up, because it needs to be shaken up, because at the moment, and the word's been used many, many times in the past, it's a cartel.
And the one thing about finding out, though, Steve, is if the arbitrator decides things can be published, there's nothing they can do to stop him.
That's true, George, but the arbitrator is part of the FA, and that's we've got a situation where it's an FA appointed, a Premier League appointed, and a Man City appointed QC, and the third party would be the FA, and the FA will not want to break the. I think anyway, the FA will not want to break it, because I don't think it's in the FA's best interest, judging by the way that the FA have kowtowed and handed over all sense of control that they had 30 years ago to the Premier League over the intervening period of 30 years. To the point where the FA is a toothless animal. It's not worth being there anymore. The FA's only role is to control St George's Park, try and pay down the debt of Wembley, and allegedly do things at grassroots
and the
level
Charity
that
Shield
very rarely filter into the northeast of England anyway.
And the Charity Shield.
Yes, the Charity Shield, which they even changed the name of, and it's no longer a charity, it's a community.
Yeah.
Just going to finish with this one. Sutty asked a question earlier on. He says, hypothetical, if the Super League had no financial restrictions in squad building, sponsors and club, would you be happy if Newcastle joined it, or would you choose to stay with the Premier League and its restrictions, George?
Well, I'm a greedy little duck and want everything, but the one thing I do want is football in the UK secure. And if our football is going to be in danger, that's where the danger will come from. There's the money grabbing can go on, but there's even a limit to that. And unfortunately, I think if that goes ahead in the way people are talking about, it would put domestic football, particularly below the Premiership, completely in jeopardy. So many clubs would disappear if that happened, and it would be sad. In fact, it'd be worse than sad. It would be criminal. The football isn't just about the biggies. It's about the lads and lasses that trail along to Division 4 games all the time and support their team as ardently as we support ours in the Premiership. They would all disappear, and that would be tragic, absolutely tragic for football.
Yeah, Steve, I'll come to you. Liverpool pushing for a Premier League game to be played in New York, aren't they? But the question from Sutty is, if there was the Super League, would you prefer to be in that, or would you prefer to stay in the Premier League with all the restrictions?
The thing is, if it was a Super League, is that replacing the Champions League, or is it in addition to the Premier League? I don't think it would be a one or the other choice, to be perfectly honest. And yes, Liverpool have announced today that Mr. Warner, who's one of their owners, has announced that he wants games to be played at least once a season, scattered all over the world. He wants them on the same day, but with different time zones, so that the Premier League gets the benefit of the maximum exposure with games in New York, LA, all over Europe. It's going to be a sham when these people get a hold of it. Very, very disappointing to hear. But this is the way football's going, and I had a little bit of dialogue with people on Twitter just yesterday. They said, it's not just that, but the death of football as we know it is on the horizon, and the death of the season ticket will be on the horizon soon. The way that the Americans run theirs, they no longer have season tickets. What they're doing is they're going for games price per game, and the value of those tickets are going to be astronomical for each game, and I can see it happening at Newcastle.
It's good, Steve, that we managed to get your point across. You do sound like a Dalek, Stephen Hawkins, and any other things. Any other things that people can? He sounds like Davros, taking on the role of Davros. A few more lookalikes potentially coming in with Steve. I'll have to meet with Steve because we'll not be able to hear Mitch on making his point. Oh, I'll have to take him out there because it's starting to get a bit too much. But yeah, look, the talk of a Super League has been around, it's been quashed, and now it's not really gone away. We've mentioned it on here before, Mitch, but from our perspective as well, it certainly just wants to know: would you prefer to stay in the Premier League with all the restrictions, or would you like to go to the Super League if it meant having a bit more freedom? But
this is where I'm probably contrarian to a lot of people. And as a former interim chair of the Supporters Trust and a founder of the Supporters Trust, I probably shouldn't be of this opinion. But in my experience of football since founding the Supporters Trust and interacting with people at all levels in football, the game over the last 20 years for me has shown me that clubs have an absolute innate inability to work together for the greater good. And that when push finally comes to shove, clubs at all levels act selfishly. And they're only in it for themselves. So we should only be in it for ourselves. Newcastle United, if there's a Super League, have to be eaten at the top table, in my opinion. We've come this far. Sadly, that's the price on the ticket. Would that forever change the face of English football? Yes. It would reorganise. There would be casualties. It wouldn't be pretty. But anybody thinking that money is steadily rolling down the pyramid and keeping everything going at the moment is probably deluding themselves. There's more money going out of the game through agents and other things these days. Even during COVID, at a time when you would have thought teams would have been able to have worked together to steer themselves through probably the most difficult financial period for football at any time, they could not. Divisions couldn't agree when to end the season, how to end the season. Those in playoff spots didn't want people outside the playoff spots getting the playoff spot because they were doing it on per game averages. Those with great goal differences suddenly didn't want certain games taken out of the mix. There was even a suggestion put to me from the AFL, somebody senior in the AFL, that the championship clubs had all decided en masse that they were all going to go into administration together, get rid of all their debts. Everybody was going to start the second season on minus 10 points. And one club was going to say, no, fuck you, we're champions and we're going to have all your players as well. And I'll not say who that club was, but it's a club that's actually probably reaping what they've sowed now in the championship after not qualifying through the playoffs to get up to the Premier League. Football is selfish. Football is about self-interest now. That's the modern game. We've bought the ticket. It's the price on the ticket. And if there's a top table to eat at, our owners will want us at that top table, no matter what that top table is. That's something that might hurt us. Some of us who've had interest in non-league football and lower league football all our lives. My dad's not just played for Newcastle, he's played for Bishop Auckland, Whitley Bay. God knows how many of the non-league teams my dad turned out for a shilling in his boot on a Saturday. And myself, I've played it in Shields, played at Whitley in my time. Been to FA vases and trophies with Whitley. My former father-in-law's closely connected to Morpeth Town and everybody there, you know. But to think that actually the way things are at the moment, how much really is rolling down the pyramid from the Premier League? They can't even agree a deal with the Football League at the moment. That's hindering things. And so for me, if there's a Super League, yes, I want us at it because it's the only way to stay viable as a big club. And that's the selfish and sadly realistic, unfortunately, view from myself on the state of playing football at the moment.
Yeah, it's been a great show tonight, lads. I just want to say thank you to Kenny first of all, for coming on and sharing his story this morning, being first in the queue, getting there at midnight and buying his top. And thanks to Liam Kennedy. Those of you who didn't see Liam on the show, that is his final appearance on nufc matters for now. He's got a big announcement coming very, very soon. Wish him well in his new endeavours, but he'll always be in touch with us. I'll always meet him up and get a lowdown from him on what's going on behind the scenes at Newcastle. But it is time for a little bit of Elliot. I took a stuffed dog to the Antiques Roadshow and Eric Knowles said, "This is extremely rare. Do you know what it would fetch in good condition?" "Don't know," I said. "A stick." Brilliant, Elliot. Love your jokes. Don't forget, Seller are doing a big drone show tomorrow night, 10 o'clock on the Quayside, free for all. So get yourself down there if it's a nice night and give them a bit of support. It should be good. If not, I think you'll be able to watch it online. And as you all know, I am on a mission to write a poem a day this year. And because I went to the Adidas strip launch, I thought I would finish with my poem for the day, which is as follows. Out of bed at an ungodly hour, coffee and porridge, no time for a shower. Making that journey to St. James's Park, people still sleeping whilst I'm up with the larks. Get to the ground, there's already a queue, standing in line for an hour or two. The line moves quickly, almost there, round the last corner, now up the stairs. Into the shop, the new top looks class. Back together again, the Tyne and Adidas. There you go. That is my poem for the day. Started with Adidas. We've finished with Adidas as well. Thanks to Mitch and thanks to George. We are back with the professionals tomorrow. Me, Stu and Mitch are back at 3 o'clock tomorrow. And then on Sunday at 6 o'clock, me and Ben Jacobs are talking transfers. So action-packed weekend for you. Have a great weekend, whatever you're doing. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Thanks, lads. Take care. Have a good night.
Cheers, everyone.
See everybody. Ta-ra, Neil. Ta-ra, soon.